Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
The Adventures of Batman.
Welcoming you to the new adventures of Batman.
Welcome to episode 76 of Batmanimation, a Batman on Film podcast, revisiting the animated adventures of the Caped Crusader. I'm senior contributor Javi Trujillo, and joining me today is the man bringing down the Rotten Tomatoes score of Spider-Man Brand New Day, Bill Jett Ramey.
Well, that was actually, for one thing, I'm not on Rotten Tomatoes, but secondly, my review would actually be considered fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, so just want to clarify that. Yeah, I'm good. I've turned the page on my brief. I take that back because I'm going to talk with Pete about Spider Noir, but I'm done with Spider-Man stuff. I'm back totally on Batman train. With not only covering the Batman Part 2, which they've done a really good job of keeping that locked up, which I support. And of course, we have what we're going to talk about today, Batman Caped Crusader. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with insider Bill Ramey, dropping scoops left and right, even though he's not saying anything. But today we are shining the bat signal on season 2 of Caped Crusader, which had all 10 episodes drop on Amazon Prime on July 31st, 2026. For today's installment, we are looking at Rocket's Red Glare, which was directed by Matt Peters with a story written by Jeffrey Thorne. And of course, Hamish Linklater as Bruce Wayne, Wunmi Mosaku as Dr. Roxanne Sutton, Darian Sills Evans as Gunther Hardwick, Todd Haberkorn as Armin Lidecker, Bumper Robinson back as Lucius Fox, James Arnold Taylor as Sal, Bruce Thomas as Warren Lawford, and Jason Watkins as Faithful Alfred, or I should say Pennyworth.
Pennyworth, yeah.
We're back on the Pennyworth train. The plot goes as follows. Batman hunts a vengeful rocketeer attacking Triad Industries. He must stop them before innocents die, but his investigation reveals shocking truths. So this episode opens with security eating donuts, not the homemade kind. When Triad Industries falls under attack, its guards now evacuating as the top of the building explodes and a rocket man speeds off into the night sky. How did the opening strike you, Bill?
Remind me of the Rocketeer.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
I feel like that definitely is a visual influence on this interpretation.
Sure. Yeah. Very underrated superhero movie.
Oh, yeah.
Superhero movie when there really weren't superhero movies as well, certainly not as we know it today. It was it was clearly says this episode is going to be different than the last one, with what we end up finding out is more corporate shenanigans, trying to get this corporate espionage and all sorts of devious things. Are trying to this company trying to get this space technology, this rocket technology. In fact, and you'll mention, I'm sure, I mean, they're even, Bruce Wayne is even looking into it a little bit, and that's ultimately how the Batman gets involved.
Did you like the little touch of humor at the start of this with the security guards?
Yeah. It's always nice to have something. And I really like, I think Hamish does a really good job with the difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman, because there are times that when he's not in the suit, but when he's speaking, he's speaking in the Batman voice.
Mhm.
And when he's in public, and then or he's meeting in this, meeting with Lucius Fox, whatever, he has more the Bruce Wayne persona at hand. Which again, I said this before. It's even I think this and Cape Crusader and the Batman are cousins, but the difference is we have yet to see Bruce Wayne, the Robert Pattinson version in the Batman, be anything other than Batman, even when he is Bruce Wayne and not in a suit. At least there's that. He hasn't made much social progress, the same
No.
as Pattinson's Batman, but he at least in public pretends. So there you go with that.
Yeah, that's a good segue for the next scene. The next morning at stately Wayne Manor,
Mm-hmm.
Lucius is visiting Bruce and, reading the paper, looking over the events of last night's attack. And just how perfect is his Bruce Wayne Playboy act in this scene?
It's good. Yeah.
You know,
Um, I watched I've watched it twice, but it's been a couple of days. I want to say he's fake drinking in the morning, right? Doesn't he have like
I
champagne or something in the glass? Yeah.
that's what I assumed. The thing that stuck out to me was his whole, "What are you doing here, Lucius, on a Saturday?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "It's Monday." He's
Yeah.
just like, "Is it?" Like it feels
Yeah.
very like Batman Year One,
Yeah.
Playboy
It
Bruce
does.
Wayne, and
Yeah, it does. It very much does.
yeah, he's really good in that scene, and and the whole point of it is something that they passed on, that Wayne Enterprises passed on earlier, this invention, this
Hmm.
demo reel that they were sent. Now that it's in that triad's in the news, he's like, let's take another look at that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And for me, it definitely made me think of was it Lau Industries from The Dark
Yeah.
Knight and how
Yeah.
they want to have
Okay.
a closer look at the books. Like
Okay.
this,
Yeah.
that whole scene reminded me of The Dark Knight and,
Hmm.
cozying up to a company to see what's going on, but using it under the guise of, business. So I thought
Yeah,
that
it's
was
like
that was
it's
fun.
it's Batman business at hand, but unknowing to the person who's being investigated, it's they just think it's Bruce Wayne and Bruce Wayne Enterprises, you know, taking another look.
And then later that night, Batman goes back to the scene of the crime. And he's still calling Alfred Pennyworth. And then a Mr. Hardwick tours the area as well with security in tow, and they spot Batman and open fire. Does seeing him escape in that bat glider bring up any other stories to mind for you?
Um, Not that I recall. You want to enlighten me?
I mean,
What you
for me, I
think?
always think of like chapter 4 of Batman Year One when
Okay.
he's flying in on that glider to the Roman's penthouse, and
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Now,
it
no,
feels like it has
yeah.
a
Now,
similar design to that.
now that you say that, yeah, I think it's because um, it's different type of stories. Like this is business espionage and all kind of
Yeah.
you know uh, stuff where the year one is year one grounded street level crime, mafia and all that. But yes, it does remind me of that.
And there was something just watching this episode in general for me, like I really like how to use the term, like how low key all the technology is because of the period setting. Like, I don't
Hmm.
know, I'm just really vibing with the equipment that Batman has, the tools he has to use, the aesthetic that brings to the show. Like, don't get me wrong, like I love all the Bat gadgets that we have in the modern day. The fact that, the Batmobile right now has like it's an electric car and can do all these other weird things in the current Batman books. Like that's all great. But there's something about this show that I find really refreshing, taking it back to like those early roots. And like you see that in, his glider that he has right
Hmm.
now. And
Hmm.
when we get to the Batmobile in a little bit, just like how the buttons look on the dash and everything like that.
Yeah, everything is very analog, which is
Yeah.
which is refreshing and I won't say not a strange way. It's refreshing that because you just mentioned we get so much of the technology nowadays, you know, in the Batman movies and in the comics and whatnot. It's going back to the very roots and the basics and the detective level stuff is cool.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace. And you know, also dovetailing off that, the next day when he goes to watch the demo reel that he ignored earlier, it's showing off the wonders of this Ultrium, which is a new power source that they've come up with. And Bruce wants to learn more about it by going to the actual, business at Triad Industries, and it's there that he meets Lawford, Harwick, and their partner Lydecker. But just like the aesthetic of trying to capture that kind of newsreely 1940s thing where
Mm-hmm.
they're talking about what the state of the world is, and we've gone through pandemics, and now here's this new source of energy. But just the way the package is put together with the graphics and how they're selling everything, it's a it's a retro throwback thing, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of fun to see the presentation. And if those names are familiar, Lawford, Hardwick, and Lydecker, they're also known as the Terrible Trio. And in that guise, they go by the names of Fox, Shark, and Vulture, which we later see an Easter egg of that on the wall. They first appeared in Detective Comics 253, which was cover dated March of 1958. Did you pick up on this right away?
Yes. It's I thought it was subtle, but yes.
Yeah, we never see them in like their
Yeah.
criminal masks that you
Yes.
would
Yeah.
typically associate in the comics with, but like their features kind of, especially the one that's more like the Vulture, he does kind of have like a beakish nose, and
Hmm.
um, I can't
Yeah,
say I
that's
was
fair.
ever a big fan of those characters.
I'm
Like,
just aware of them and through
yeah,
different uh, media that they've showed up in. But as far as thinking I'm an expert on their background or history and all that is
they're not
yeah,
your crazy quilt,
yeah. No, no, no.
you know.
But it is cool how uh, they're really weaving in a lot of Batman mythology and history into this. I think more
Yeah.
so than season one. So even so far, I'm 2 episodes in, and it just seems like they're just more of that characters, history, subtle nods to things. So I'm looking forward to see where it goes going forward because I'm watching these as we record. I'm not jumping ahead. So
Like I was saying, they're not anywhere near my upper echelon, and usually when I think of them, they're more of like random guest appearances, throwaway villains to be easily defeated. Um, but I think that the way they integrate them into the story and having them be like these business magnets, I think it works really well for this world. And speaking of like comics and homages, when Bruce brings up Dr. Sutton, the trio reveal that she died in a lab accident. And Roxanne Sutton, aka Roxy Rocket, first appeared in the Batman Adventures Annual #1 in the story Going Straight, which was published September 27th of 1994. And it was written by Paul Dini and drawn by Bruce Timm, who, as you all know, is an executive producer on the show. And that comic precedes her first animated appearance in the new Batman Adventures. That was season 2, episode 1, The Ultimate Thrill, which aired also on September 14th, but of 1998, so 4 years after her comic appearance. Do you remember that episode at all, Bill? I don't
a
think we've
little bit,
covered it
yeah,
on
yeah.
Batmanimation.
I know of it. but not enough to speak on it. Does that make you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
minute since I've watched it. Like I've liked the character of Roxy Rocket. If I'm remembering right, she was kind of like a stunt woman. And she had like for that time period that the story came out in, she had like a retro, adventure kind of look, like aviation look with like uh goggles and like a scarf and
Yeah.
kind of like an
Yeah.
Amelia Earhart
Yeah. I
look
remember
to
what
her.
she looked like. Yeah.
So what they're doing here is a bit of a departure. But it's coming under the auspice of Bruce Timm being one of the producers on the
Hmm.
show. And that night, a rocket ship attacks a train that's carrying the Ultrium to its destination. And the Rocket Man that we saw from the opening scene boards the train, and Batman's in pursuit with the Batmobile. And it gives us, like I mentioned earlier, like a good look at the cockpit. And just, I love the little toggle analog switches. And I didn't write it down, but they're like different, all the features are listed. So it's got like parachute and I forget what the other ones are. Um, but it's just a step below like the Adam West Batmobile where everything's labeled
Hmm.
as like Bat telephone and all that. But eventually everyone gets on board the train. A fight breaks out, and that leads to a stray bullet shattering part of the Rocketeer's helmet, revealing the face of the allegedly deceased Dr. Sutton. Um, and the way that the costume is designed, like you would assume like it's a man underneath, but it's Dr. Sutton.
Hmm.
Did
Yeah.
that surprise you at all? That reveal that it was her, that she wasn't
No,
dead?
no, it was obvious that she would be the Rocketeer. But just didn't know how it all would play out. And ultimately, and if what, of course, what she's doing, her plan, which was really the right thing to do in a way, they are taking her work and whatnot, but it's, yeah, I figured, no, wasn't surprised, but still interested in seeing how the whole thing will play out.
Yeah. For my part, I wasn't surprised either, but because they've changed so many things with, other legendary characters like Penguin
Yeah.
and Riddler, like I wouldn't have put them past it, or I wouldn't have put it past them
Yeah.
to trick it up even further and have it be like her fiance that was trying to get revenge or some other connection. Like maybe they did kill her off and um it was somebody else, but like when it was revealed, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I appreciated that they raised the question that it could be someone else, even though it wasn't shocking that it was still just her.
Yeah, because they advertised with some of the early press releases and stuff that Roxy Rocket was going to be one of the characters their interpretation of the character. So I figured we would get actually Roxy Rocket and not someone out to
But they
avenge her.
never they never outright call her that, just like the Dark Knight Rises, where they never call her Selena Kyle Catwoman. They don't,
Yeah.
no one in the story straight out says, oh, that's Roxy Rocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
And given, how the episode ends, like it's kind of, no pun intended, up in the air
Yeah.
on whether or not she really dies. So like maybe
Yeah.
she'll come back, but maybe that was it. Um, and there's a lot of like, if you slow down and think about it, there's like a lot of interesting things going on with, her character arc, because she's a woman in this very corporate world and just the way like the Terrible Trio talks about her, like they're kind of condescending with everything. And, at first they start off with Dr. Sutton, but then it becomes Roxy. Like, they're just trying to take from her
Hmm.
for their own gain, which leads to a demonstration that they invite all these other dignitaries and Bruce Wayne to, where they're going to show off the Ultrium by launching this rocket in the middle of nowhere, which of course is Batman's piecing everything together, and he's on Roxy's trail or Dr. Sutton's trail. He shows up in time to help her stop it. but it doesn't go as planned. They
Hmm.
kind of have to divide and conquer a little bit, and you see that because while we only got a glimpse of her face before, when Batman confronts her in her hideout, you see like the other side of her face is scarred.
Hmm.
Not like Two-Face level scarred, but to him,
No,
Batman's like,
she had an injury.
there's some kind of
There's like,
brain damage possibly.
it looks clearly she's lost an eye because you have the scar that comes across the eye, and the eye is white like an eye would be if it wasn't functioning anymore. I like the fact that Batman is like against her,
Hmm.
like treating her like a villain almost
Yeah.
at first, and I did like the line of like, I have to paraphrase. It's something like, oh, a masked vigilante getting on to me about
Yeah,
revenge,
lecturing me. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so and like that, and then, he realizes that he may not approve of what all of her methods, but does realize that she's doing the right thing, and these people are not good people, and it does need to be taken down.
Yeah. It goes from like she's the villain to they're antagonists with each other to
Yeah,
almost partners by the end of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because while she's doing all these attacks, she's not really hurting or killing anyone. Like when they get into
yeah,
fights, sure, but even her weapons, like she shoots Batman with a gun or what looks like a ray gun at some point on the in the earlier train fight. But with whatever it is, it's only something that kind of it's almost like a rubber bullet because it pushes him back,
yeah,
but it doesn't, we've seen people get shot on this show, and that's not
yeah,
what happens when she's shooting
yeah,
this gun.
yeah, yeah.
It's more like a rubber bullet where it's just knocking you down
Sure.
or taking the wind out of you. So she's out for revenge against these guys, but it's not at the expense of anyone else, really. Um, she's not killing people or
Hmm.
maiming
Hmm.
them, anything like that. And it's such an interesting way to go about this character who is more of like a thrill seeker, bank robber type person to a Robin Hoodish,
Yeah, it
trying
is
to
like
stop
that. Yeah,
her stuff from
it's
falling into the wrong hands.
yeah, she's actually she's kind of a vigilante in a way, but it is her invention, her technology, and she knows it's going in the wrong hands for bad things. So she's trying to essentially destroy her own work to prevent these people from benefiting from it, and ultimately bad things possibly happening. So I think Batman realizes that,
Yeah.
where he goes quickly from, you're a villain, you need help, blah blah blah, and then to, all right, it's on, we're partners, so we gotta go.
Yeah, I really appreciated how they took the character and gave her like this tragic backstory and gave her some layers beyond what, we were used to seeing from her. Um, and just kind of gave her more depth and it makes her feel more like a Batman villain to me, if that makes sense. Like I don't think she's necessarily like belonging in Arkham. Um, but there is Batman certainly thinks so at some point that, she may have lost some of her faculties from the attack on her life.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Like I feel
I don't think
like
she has. I don't. Yeah,
if and it's a cartoon story, so even though we see her go up and stop the rocket and it explodes, like we don't necessarily see her die. So they could always bring her back in some fashion because
yeah,
that's what these stories do.
yeah.
I'd be
Like in yeah,
if they do
and
that, like I'd be really curious to see where she falls. Like if she would,
where would she? Yeah, because this part, her agenda has been taken care of, right?
yeah,
She's
yeah.
essentially won. She's won. So what would her purpose be? What kind of character would she be? because clearly she could come back. I mean, it's it's like you said, it's no different really than Dark Knight Rises with Batman instead, you know.
Yeah.
She does have a rocket suit. We don't know if she, you know,
Had some protection. Yeah.
she destroyed the rocket and or the orders or the whatever it was, the programming and the power source, whatever. And she could have just ejected and flew off, and you know they don't show anything up close. It's the rocket's so far away when it explodes, we wouldn't see, you know, her probably at all, just the visibility and how far it was away. So yeah, it's possible. Bring her back. We'll see. But it does have a lot of impact. If she did sacrifice her life, that's, you know, that's cool as well. Sometimes, you know, we don't need to see this person come back because the impact,
multiple times.
Yeah. The impact was so strong. Kind of like, you know, does something deserve a sequel when, you know, or explanation and whatnot?
What did surprise me was at the end of the episode, Bruce and Alfred gather up all her paperwork, all her designs.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a big hole in the ground, and they throw it all in there and they light it ablaze. Uh, and I think Alfred mentions like all the good things that could have come from her work, and Batman says something about, falling into the wrong hands and whose hands are
Mm-hmm.
the right hands. Like, I thought that was kind of interesting. Just as Batman as a character, because like to bring up the Dark Knight again, like how he's used some technology to spy on people for the right reasons to find the Joker. Um, and just in addition to like, I like the general retro designs that she had. Like I could have seen Batman taking some of her work and incorporating it into his arsenal, as crime fighting tools,
Yes.
and just kind of keep them for himself. And there's no indication that he did that here. It seems like all of it was getting destroyed,
Yeah. Well, he
no
says,
matter
he tells
not even
Alfred that's what,
trusting himself to use
yeah,
it.
he said that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
And he's a man of honor, you know. This was her work. She wanted it destroyed. We're going to destroy it, even if I could use it. And it's right. It could have, even with him, you never know. Not that Batman would do something wrong, but it could still get out and be in the wrong hands.
And then like the little cherry on top is like the camera pulls back and you see that where they're destroying all the notes and everything is now labeled as like a future site of Sutton Laboratories, a Wayne Foundation or a Wayne Enterprises uh, venture or whatever it said at the
Yeah.
bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I like how he's honoring her and carrying on her legacy, um, despite everything that happened, which
Yeah.
which felt like a very, Bruce Wayne thing to do.
Yeah. For sure.
But before
But
we
that's
get
not
out of
the
here,
end. That's not the
there's
total end. It's the end of the main story, but not the end of this episode and where we're going this season, right?
yeah, we get this little silhouette, whistling
Yeah.
and gathering up all the blockbuster formula and 2026. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the Matt Fraction Batman, so little minor spoiler warning here. Not been a good year for Dr. Hugo Strange. And as the camera moves around, we see Professor Strange laying in a chair, head thrown back, mouth wide open in a rictus grin, as his life's work is being stolen. Do you think old Hugo's dead, or is
I
he
don't
just,
know.
rendered
I don't
immobile?
I don't know. My first thought is, well, he wasn't in this very much. That was, it's
No.
quick, a little scene in episode 1, and then they at this little basically cameo. at the end of
Yeah.
episode 2. Um, I'm not sure what the final effects of Joker Venom, this Joker Venom is. You know,
Yeah. Because we haven't really seen
we
it.
haven't seen with Rupert Thorne.
We haven't seen
You
the
know,
outcome of it. Yeah.
yeah, the outcome, and I don't know. I want to find out. So that's why it was a cliffhanger, you know? Not a cliffhanger in regards to, I mean, the main story had a start, middle, end, but this overarching story with the Joker.
Yeah. It's a nice little tease
Yeah.
to keep you going. And we
Yeah.
don't get any clues on, what did happen with Thorne or his son. Uh, just the Joker's carrying on. And I like, it kind of calls back to like the Strange Apparitions era,
Mm-hmm.
where at one point Hugo Strange did die and was a ghost haunting Boss Thorne. So, like, I wonder how much influence they're taking from those comics and how they're going to layer that in. Because, like we were just saying, like, is he dead? Is he
I
just
I
out of
am
commission for a while?
I am tempted.
We've seen
I am tempted.
Supernatural on this show before.
I am tempted to binge this thing because I want to. I'm very invested already. Only 2 episodes
Yeah.
in, but I'm going to stick with my, a couple each week and do the shows as we go.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
Enjoy
happens.
it.
We'll see what happens.
Because,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
there's no announcement for season 3, right?
Not yet that I've heard.
Yeah. And so, I mean, maybe we'll get one and maybe it'll be in another 2 years. So
Yeah.
who knows? Just enjoy what we've got and just take your time with it. Because the
Yeah.
next episode I have watched now, and it is also really good. So,
Okay. All right.
yeah, we'll we'll leave it there. But just to say, well, this feels like it definitely stands on its own from the first episode of the season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, as you go along, like all these things start to coalesce together, uh, even this early on. So they're doing a great job putting it all out there and weaving it into this big tapestry. So any final thoughts
I really like this
on?
episode. I didn't know. I didn't know when it started how I would feel about it once it was done. Because it feels different than the first. You're dealing with gangsters and whatnot and all that, and the first more, Batman type stuff. And this one, it was
This is
different,
more corporate
corporate.
espionage and
Yeah.
corruption.
But I ended up really liking it quite a bit. Maybe I think I liked it better than than episode 1. But I liked episode 1 a lot. So if I've liked each episode a little bit more than the previous,
We're going in the
then
right direction.
we're going in the
Yeah.
right direction. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, like the terrible trio aren't having them in something doesn't excite me. And same with Roxy Rocket. Like I don't dislike any of these characters. But what this episode does right is get you invested in Roxy's story
Mm-hmm.
and how everything, works out
Oh,
for
I
her in the
I
end. And
I definitely. I mean, in this short amount of time that these episodes last, I was
yeah, like 25
wanting
minutes or whatever.
I was wanting her to get her revenge, if you want to call it that, and I wanted these a-holes to get what was coming to them. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we said, this character has been around since 94, but I feel more invested in her from these 25 minutes than the prior 30 years of story or times I've seen her pop up in comics or in animation. Because I think she's done a few episodes after that initial one. So that is it for Batman animation. That is a capper on Rocket's Red Glare. Where can people find you, Bill?
Well, they're here. BatmanOnFilm.com. Don't forget the dashes. Batman-on-film.com. So that's it.
Yeah. And as for me, the same, obviously. We got Batmanimation. We need to lay down some more batteries to power soon. We got a new show coming up with Trey, which is chapter by chaptering the Batman 66 movie. So look forward to that on the YouTube and
Yeah.
podcasting streams. And I think I owe you a review next week. I think that's when the next
Okay.
Batman and Robin Year One issue drops.
Okay.
So I'll be turning in some writing pretty soon.
Yeah.
So I'm looking
I'll
forward
be,
to.
yeah, I'll be working. I'll be writing a review as well because Absolute Batman, the latest, comes out. I've just started it. Don't tell me anything. I want to finish it. So
I haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
I'm in the very beginnings of it. So I'll let you know.
I
I'll
did
ask, 'cause
pre-order.
yeah.
I did pre-order the LPZZ Absolute Batman figure.
Did you?
There's
Okay.
yeah, I think it's like at the end of the day, it's like $140.
Doesn't McFarlane have a statue?
McFarlane's got one. He's got a
Yeah.
statue. I think they're doing a figure too. I saw a post that compared all these Absolute Batman things that are now coming out in the last, 2 months that got announced. Because
He's
I
got
know
to have
InArt's been
just a
working on one.
regular figure come out,
Yeah,
right?
I would think so before they
Yeah.
say goodbye to the license.
I just
But
ordered
this
two.
LPZZ one looks
Yeah.
more like the comic art,
Okay. Okay.
proportions and everything. It does, you can add on the spikes from the
Okay.
shoulders. Obviously the chest stacks, and then you can swap out the heads to have a Bruce Wayne head. And then he even has the mask, the like gas mask and
Okay.
chainsaw from the Poison Ivy arc. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
pretty loaded. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. I just ordered two McFarlanes yesterday. Pre-ordered, I should say. They released three
Which
more.
ones? Yeah, they did like a battle damage Catwoman and
This was three
a
Batman.
few
It was
others. And didn't they do
golly.
another Pattinson
One
figure?
was Darken. Um, it was from Arkham Knight Batman, and
A new one?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I missed that.
not yeah, not. It looks completely. It's different than the Ark. I have the Arkham one. I don't
Hmm.
I don't know if it's just Arkham Asylum Batman or whatever, but this it's different. I mean, it looks the same but different at the same time. It's like almost an all black color, and then there's another one. I want to say it's from a comic book, and I did not get that one. Long Years. And then there was one that was kind of a it was kind of like a cross between 70s and the Silver Age, but it's like a blue Batman and with the black highlights and all that. So I'm sure you can find it at
Oh
McFarlane.
yeah. Yeah, I did see that one.
So I got those two. Yeah.
That one they are calling it the one with the blue highlights, the world's finest Batman.
Yeah. 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 That's it.
And then oh, Haunted Gotham is the long-eared
Yeah. That's it.
Batman.
That's it.
That's just it looks like it's just a repaint of the Kelly Jones
Yeah.
Troika Batman,
That's what I
which
thought.
Haunted Night is or Haunted Gotham is a Kelly Jones book, so that makes sense
Yeah.
that they would just do a different color scheme.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I didn't get that one.
there's the Arkham
Yeah.
Knight. I guess they're re-release. Oh, it looks like it's just the old Arkham Knight figure, but with the posable cape. I think.
Oh,
Maybe not. Maybe it's not posable. Maybe it's just a re-release. But anyways,
anyway, I got
we
yeah,
all got
it
to
looks-
get out of here. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it looks. I got it. I got that one. I got an Arkham
Yeah.
McFarlane. It looks different to me. So whatever.
and
it's coming.
announcer Rachel's shooing you out the
She's
door.
here. She's coming in. She's in a foul mood. So she's ready to get this over with.
All right. Well, we will have announcer Rachel take us out.
Thanks for listening to Batmanimation, a BatmanOnFilm.com podcast revisiting the animated TV and film adventures of the Caped Crusader. Follow Batmanimation on Twitter @Batmanimation. Follow BOF on Twitter @TheBatmanOnFilm. Follow Jett on Twitter @BatmanOnFilm. For Jett and Team BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive, the original, established in 1998.